We brought the kids. We hope you don't mind. I hope you all like anchovies on your pizza. Give me another one for the road. Hon, where's the jack? Really, the rhythm method is the best. I'm sure we can get a signal there. He said, trust me, it works fine. Oh no, we'll gas up at the next station. No need to write it down. I won't forget.
Yeah.
Flood insurance? No way. I got a tip. This guy's a sure winner. Honey, do you think the oven gas is off? I'm going to light the match. No need to turn off the electricity. It's just 2 wires and a bulb. Nothing will happen. They're just kids.
Oh.
Jerry, that mic is still on. You said what? That was the judge's wife. Nah, she's really not like that. Why is everybody going the wrong way? This car can make it through any snowstorm. I can stop now anytime I want.
Yeah.
says you need a jacket and a tie? I just met the perfect guy. Trust me, my ex was the problem. No, really, it won't hurt a bit. Don't be silly. I read it on the internet. The small print, I never read it. The GPS is wrong, trust me. Follow me. I know the way. And finally, absolutely, you can park here. All right. Now that I've had a little chuckle. Today we're going to talk about denial and the effects of denial and the sometimes devastating effects of denial. We all have seen it in our lives. We all know people who have it. It's something a therapist deals with all the time. People come in, you tell them you think that this might be an area that they want to look at, and they assure you that that's not the problem. And therapists have always learned it's never the problem they tell you it's the problem. It's always something else. So denial, what is denial? Number one, it's a primary process defense. This is an unconscious defense mechanism that the ego uses to protect itself. It is primitive. It is not a highly decorated defense because there is nowhere to go once denial is broken. There are much more sophisticated defenses that people use to deny devastating information, things that hurt the psyche, things that hurt your self-esteem, your self-image. All of this is based on your ability to grow naturally and to have an adult ego. People with denial basically are still stuck in the childhood phase of ego development. So it's basically unconscious, but it has leaks. It has momentary breakthroughs. People who are in denial at times will become aware that they really probably should look at their drinking. But look, everybody drinks, and I go to work every day, and then the rationalizations start, etc. So there can be momentary breakthroughs, but other defenses come into play, such as rationalization, minimization, projection, displacement. It's not me, it's them, it's normal, everybody does it. So denial is a way for a person to maintain a view of themselves that cannot be disturbed. If you think of denial, think of a child. They just knocked over the vase and they're standing next to it. And mother walks into the room and says, "What happened?" "I didn't do it." "Not me." "I heard a noise. You're standing there. It's on the ground." "I don't know. Why are you picking on me?" You see what happened? You're a bad mommy. Right away, the process is I can't take responsibility for what I just did. Somehow I will disappear if I admit I broke it. If once you say you broke it, then you can say it was an accident. I didn't mean to break it. I had just accidentally hit it. My elbow hit it. I tried to catch it. I had it for a second, but it dropped. It broke. I'm sorry. Then you can move on. So you learn that you survive in your own error. If you can't, then you stay at that developmental stage where nothing can penetrate this childlike view of your ideal self. Now, we can look at denial examples very clearly with alcoholics. There is a social acceptance of drinking. It's part of the culture. Everybody celebrates with alcohol. Everybody does everything with alcohol. You can't eat a meal without alcohol if you're an adult. It's just a normal part of daily living. So who's to say how much is okay? Well, the clinicians have an idea of when it starts to replace other things, when you start taking shortcuts so that you can go drink, or that you start having people cover up for you when you're drinking,
Right.
or you involve other people in your story. It's very easy to see when someone is abusing alcohol. The last person to see it is them. And that's why AA works best in groups where you don't have to deal with the demon yourself. You talk to other people who have dealt with the demon, other people who tell you how they lied, how they covered up, how they hid it, how they was, all the behaviors that go along with denial of a problem. All you have to do is ask a family if someone has difficulty with alcohol. They all know.
Right.
Relatives know, friends know. It's not something you can easily hide. Gambling is another place of denial. It's normal in the male, especially subculture of sports, that people bet. They bet on who's going to win, and it used to be very simple. You pick the team. If they won, you won. If they lost, you lost. But now they break it down into these betting sites where you can bet by half inning, you can bet by player, you can bet by if someone's going to wear a red hat in the third row, and on and on and on and on. And it's gotten very sophisticated and very complicated where you can place 10 bets a day and bet that you'll win more than five. So the culture helps people with gambling problems
Sure.
to bet more. Look at the casinos, the whole culture of casinos.
Right.
Um, but gambling can lead to loan sharking, can lead to borrowing, can lead to betting the mortgage, can lead to betting the business. It once it grabs a hold of you, the double down. Well, I've lost up until now. I've lost 48, but if I bet 48 today, I'm even. If I bet 96, I'm up 48. And the hole gets deeper. That's why the government has forced all places that place bets to show you where you can go for help for gambling because
Right.
they know they're dealing with an addiction. The obvious denial is drug addiction. From the simple little mommy's little helpers during the day, the little, the Rolling Stones
Right.
talking, mommy's little pills that keep her getting going through the day, to out and out junkies on the street with heroin addictions and methamphetamine addictions and all the other super drugs that they have out there now. Those lead to the devastation of a society. It's not just an individual and their right to use drugs. It's what they do when they're addicted. The fact that they will mug other people, that they will steal, they will cross lines in the service of their addiction. Once you are totally addicted, you will do anything to get your fix. And most of the time, it's deceiving and lying and breaking trust with others. Ask any family member that's had a drug addict in the house about how it upturns the entire house.
Right.
And all along, they'll tell you, I can stop. It's not a problem. I'm planning on it. I'm going next week, et cetera, et cetera. The other one on my list is sex addiction, and the problems come from denial with sex problems. There are many what is called self-loathing behaviors, where people do sexual things that they don't want to do, but they can't stop doing it. Pornography is a big example. Secret stuff, stashes everywhere. Going to, in the old days, it was going to the peep shows and going to porno bookshops and film places where men got addicted. Instead of going for lunch with the guys, they were going to these kind of. And it's funny that it was really mostly men and not women that had that. But in today's world, the sexual addictions have really grown into very fascinating and different things with S&M and self-hating gays, people who secretly are gay, can't admit it, can't stop what they do, and they absolutely destroy a family.
Right.
You know, it's the same old adage. If you can admit who you are and what you do, then nobody's going to come after you and nobody's going to attack you for what you're doing, because you're basically an adult and you're allowed to do what you want to do. There are consequences to that behavior, but it's very different. You don't hate yourself. And so along the lines of denial, all of these four fit into the classical clinical pattern where you never admit what you do. And when you get sniffed out, you attack back. You demean the attacker. You deflect away from admitting what everybody else seems to know. The root cause is what I started out, is an underdeveloped ego. It's a small child whose view of themselves cannot be tainted by failure, by fault. If you look at it starts with the child who denies he broke the glass or dropped the vase, and the adolescent. The adolescent version is they get mad and won't talk about it and storm out of the room, slam a door.
Yep.
It's not happening. Why are you picking on me? You know, they always, denial people, their secondary position is victim. They quickly are the victim of your observations of their behavior. Admitting to the problem is catastrophic to them, and therefore their behavior is very excessive. The defense can be the opposite. People can put on a front of invulnerability, of success, of savoir-faire, if you will. The people who are in public positions, people who are famous, all have a persona that is modeled after an ideal to which everyone knows them by it, et cetera, but the real truth underneath is that's not who they are. And this self-confident, poised, but easily rattled person can get mean, nasty, critical, and demeaning in a second. It's always a sign that there's denial, because normally if you say something to, well, do you have bad days? You eat too much? Yeah, we all do. Oh, no, not me. So the example of where I'm going today is the psychological poster child for denial and all the behaviors that come from it is Donald Trump. If you watch him psychologically, you watch his attack mode. Anytime he is charged with doing something or failing in some kind of way, he's a master at rolling it over. I don't cheat, they cheat. Anybody looking at my taxes is a tax cheat. That's why they're looking at me, because they're doing it, which is really the classic pattern for denial. It's denial and projection. I'm not doing it, you're doing it. So that way they can maintain themselves, be a victim, get others to support their victimization. And therefore, the denial never gets to the reality of, you did it. We got the papers. We see you signed the tax thing here. You elevated it here. You reduced it here. It's the same building on the same day. Wasn't me. It was my tax guy. was my business manager, was my office president, was the dirty Democrats that are after me. It's always somebody else. In February 2020, Dr. Nancy Messonnier at the CDC warned Trump about the coming disruption to everyday life caused by the upcoming virus and pandemic. She told him in 2020 that their models, their computer models, indicate that this virus is so susceptible to close contact that without an absolute all-front attack, the entire population could be at risk. Now, Trump was told at the same time, once that information came out, probably the worst advice he ever got in the history of getting bad advice. They told him it would be bad for his reelection if they had a pandemic. He wouldn't want to be running for reelection during a pandemic. It looks bad. You have to get beyond this thing. Trump's first reaction was fury. He went into a rage that he had to deal with such a person. So his response was, within 24 hours, he denounced her, told the American public she didn't know what she was talking about, and wanted to have her fired. This is a scientist. This is the head of respiratory disease at the Center for Disease Control, a federal agency. The head of the infectious diseases part of the, told him, you got a problem here. We got to deal with this. Had he said, thank you, I'm the leader, I'm Donald Trump, I'm going to lead us, everybody, and he gets on TV and he says, listen, through no fault of ours, the dirty Chinese have given us a bad virus, and only I can help you out of this, and this is what we have to do. Everybody's going to have to stay away from one another. We're going to have to mask up. It's going to be horrible. But trust me, I got the best people around me. I mean, I'm a politician, a businessman. I don't know this. I'm going to get in the best. You know, I told you I would bring in the best. Well, I'm bringing in the best scientists. I'm bringing in the best virologists. I'm bringing in everybody, and we will bet, and we will beat this thing. He would have been the most popular president since Abe Lincoln if he would have done that. But Donald Trump, because Donald Trump can't see himself in any negative light, what he did was denied the problem. It's not there. 4 days later, he gets on TV and he says to everybody, well, there is this virus, but it's small. We're in control of it. It's going to go away. There'll probably be 12 or 14 people who are going to die from this thing, but it's a small price to pay. But we're on it, and we got it. And from that point on, once it started to go the other way, instead of admitting he made a mistake, he then blamed them. So what did he do? The government response to what Dr. Messonnier said was to take the power away from the CDC and give it to Michael Pence, a noted scientist, a noted...
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I didn't know I was...
Of viruses and everything.
Yeah.
He put Mike Pence in charge and made it political.
And also his son-in-law.
Absolutely. Who had another one that had great experience.
Right.
So what these knuckleheads did is denied the problem. It started this whole anti-masking thing where it made the virus, if the virus gets bigger, Trump looks bad. So therefore, make believe the virus isn't there and he can maintain. It is the most stupid thing anybody would ever do. If he had any intelligence, the people around him would have said, Donald, this isn't going to work. This is way bigger than our politics can handle. We can't shut this up. This is a real problem. And
Right.
it's not our problem. It's not a political problem. It's a medical problem. It's a science problem. So had he attacked it that way, would have been very different. But he went on to demean anybody who said there's a problem. Look at the battles with Fauci. Fauci was the less political person you ever saw. He's just coming out there. He's a doctor. He's a scientist. He tells you the facts. He wouldn't even put him on the same. They would have what their version of a press conference was, and wouldn't even put him on there. So they demeaned him, and they demeaned even giving information. The government took down its COVID website under Trump's instruction. Now, how stupid can you be? I mean, this is just rampant stupidity. And because he had the power, nobody confronted him on it. Did you ever get a report from Jared? Did you ever get a report from Pence? Did they ever say, this is what I've done? Did they ever say, this is what we expect in 3 months? This is what we expect in 6 months? The CDC kept doing it. They kept saying you had to find it on yourself. You had to go to the website yourself. You had to watch news stations that weren't Fox because there was no pandemic on Fox. There was pandemics on every other station. It's a real shit show. I mean, it was just the most chaotic response to a problem that could have been solved. So Donald Trump, with his denial, leads the world down the wrong way, drops out of the Paris Peace Accords, drops out of any international health organization, doesn't want to be part of the World Health Organization. You got a worldwide pandemic, and he doesn't want to be part of it. They should have shot him, is what they should have done. They should have hung him. They should have said, this is a danger to the country. This is the enemy within. We couldn't have a bigger enemy than a person who is denying that 560,000 people have died from his decisions. What are you going to do? So he's telling everybody, don't panic, which is what he did. That's his panic response, was his denial. So therefore, he did what he normally does, is he blames others. He blamed China. He even blamed Obama. They wouldn't even, that was, how bad can you be? It wasn't, he didn't do enough research to realize, well, when Obama left office, there was no
pandemic.
But you get a lot of votes if you say Obama did it. Okay. We know the devastating effects of denial with alcohol, with health, with family collapse, et cetera, et cetera. By all accounts, Trump's handling of the pandemic and the denial of its seriousness cost him the election. It was a close enough election that there's a lot of people who are Republicans. They said almost up to 25% of the Republicans were saying he's not handling this right, because they were losing people. Their families were in nursing homes. You didn't just give it to the Democrats.
Right.
The Republicans got it too. And so the effect was he basically lost the election because of denial and the pandemic. So what does he do when he loses? He denies he lost. The most brutal psychological defense mechanism he employed up against reality. And reality is, you can prove who won an election. You can count every vote. So the Republicans sued 16 states for recount because they said they changed the ballots. They didn't count it right. The evidence came back. 16 states said, nope, the ballot vote is true. He lost. Not only that, he lost by almost 7 million votes. And the Electoral College was the same one he won with. This is what he lost with. So, okay. So facts now say he lost. So they have an investigation, and they have it in the Senate in Washington. And they call witnesses to prove that the election was stolen from Donald Trump. And who's their star witness? Rudy Giuliani. Rudy Giuliani goes to Congress, and under oath, they ask him, what proof do you have that the election was stolen? And he says, I have no proof. You would think it would have ended at that moment, that here is the place where the voting counts, where reality counts, where law counts. And he says, I have no proof they stole it. So now you don't have to trust the facts anymore. And Trump voters and Trump supporters learned that long ago. You just believe him. Facts are irrelevant. Facts can be changed. There is things called alternate facts, whatever they are. Well, they must have been in play during this election, because the alternate facts people started to believe Trump's view that the election was stolen. And they have a campaign slogan called Stop the Steal, which raises $300 million from Trump supporters, from billionaire, right-wing philanthropists, et cetera. They backed the idea that this was an invalid election. In the history of the United States, one of the most sacred things is our voting system. It's guarded more than almost anything else. That in the 300 years or whatever since we had it, every recount has been certified. Every recount has said, this is the final tally. And everybody says, yeah, you came close, but too bad you lost. You know, George Bush and his brother stole one in Florida against Gore, you know, but he accepted the results.
Right.
Trump got beat like a dead horse. They never accepted the results. To Stop the Steal people then went on a campaign that keeps the idea going that Trump won. The latest poll said 30% of the American population, 30%, believe Donald Trump won the election. My friends, that's a cult. That's what cult people believe. No outside information can be trusted. Only the leader is to be trusted. And who's the trustworthy leader who doesn't lie? Donald Trump. And so now comes January 6th, 2021. And in Washington, they are certifying the election of Joe Biden. But Trump gets his vigilantes, armed vigilantes, to storm the government in an insurrection to stop the counting of the legal votes. That's destruction. That's democracy being taken down.
Right.
Based on one psychologically disturbed person who can't admit reality. And 30% of the population who follow him saying, yeah, we're going to take back. We have the right to armed insurrection. Vigilante groups, these Proud Boys, these people that live under rocks, who you see them. I mean, you just see the American flag and all of that. They're mostly racist groups. They hate immigrants. They hate black. They hate Hispanic. They're all, violent, mostly offenders that in some way have been wronged by the system. And they rally behind this man as their leader, that he hears them He knows they're angry. He knows they're downtrodden. He's going to save them. And how's he going to do that? Any way he can. Lie, steal, cheat, etc. So now what is his party doing? They are now retaliating against the places that he lost votes, like Florida and Texas. And what are they doing? They're limiting the ability to vote. In this democracy, this party now thinks they can steal elections that they can't win. Simple as that. And they're going to block other people who have the right to vote from doing so, under the banner of liberty, America, God, Christianity, all the charge points. He's the savior for America. Well, I don't want his America. And if he and everybody else that believes in him decided to go on an island, I wouldn't stop them. I don't think they're good for the country. I don't think the politics that we have now is good for the country at all, because it's either your way or the highway. It's either them or us. There's no longer the ability to talk to one another, because the issue of reality and truth is always the issue. If you believe in Trump and you believe in what is going on today, you can't defend by reality what happened. The election was a valid process. It was certified. Everybody recounted, etc. If you believe that's not true, then facts really don't matter, only your opinion. And unfortunately, in this country, your opinion doesn't count when there's more of the other guy's opinion that counts. Majority rules is what we've been living with ever since we had the voting system. The guy who gets the most votes, he wins. You can stand up there and say all the time, I got 70 million votes. Yeah, well, the other guy got 78. So you lost. Admit it. Move on. Come up with a better strategy to get reelected, rather than keeping the same strategy, keeping the same view, and try to limit everybody else's right to vote, which is what they're doing, which makes me absolutely furious. I mean, I never liked the man in the beginning, but now you figure once he lost, he'd go away. No, he's just living under the rock.
Right.
When they had the insurrection, and all these yahoos were breaking down the doors, having no respect for the government that they supposedly are trying to save, Trump spoke to them on national TV. Like he knows about all these Proud Boy groups. He knows about all these right-wing militant guys. And he said to them, stand down and stand by. Those words will come back to get us, because right now they're standing down, but they're standing by. And all it takes is now, and they will be back. It's a sad day. It's a sad day. So it's about denial, it's about lies, and it's about a little boy who can't grow up. This is Ken Ludmer with KYaks.
I have to thank you for a good informational KYaks, because everything that you've talked about, if our listeners want to go out and Google it, they're going to find out that it's
find out what I said today was the truth, because I Googled it before and I did my research before
right.
Today. I can back up everything I said today.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we try to do here is provide the truth. Yes, we do have our opinions, but when we have our opinions, we admit this is my opinion. And this is fact.
Well, I learned at Columbia that I had a voice, but I didn't have an informed voice. And in order to speak publicly, you need to have an informed voice, something Trump never had. To have an informed voice and be the president, you have to be presidential. He's never just been other than a mob guy. He's never been anybody who can't out-bully somebody by his opinion rather than coming up with the facts that prove it. Because every time the facts comes out, his argument falls apart. So today, I didn't want to just give opinion. I wanted to back it with some researchable facts.
Well,
you didn't like what I said today? Look it up. See if I didn't tell the truth.
And it's okay if you don't like it, but like you said, look it up, find the truth. There's got to be a way that we can all start to work together. And it's inevitable. We have to, because otherwise.
But they don't want to. The problem in the politics today is they don't want to. They are now attacking their own people. They are taking people out of number 3 Democrat Republican is going to be replaced by some upstate New Yorker because they don't like the fact that she won't lie.
Right.
Now you have to lie to gain popularity with the Republican Party. Because if you tell the truth, they attack you, their own party. Forget about going after the other guy. It used to be when you said the other guy lied and you go after him. But now they're doing it within their own party. You have to lie to gain political favor today because the whole Trumpian thing is based on a lie.
Well, we've given everybody a lot to think about. If you have any questions, you can go to KYaks.GURU and you can contact Ken there, or you can go to newclevelandradio@gmail.com and send your ideas and thoughts to us. And we will be back with Ken in June. And hopefully the weather will be beautiful and maybe we'll all have learned a little.
And they have to have a remote camera because I'll be out riding the horse somewhere.
Hey, that's fine. That would be fun. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.
Take care.